Hey, Scarefest Radio. This is Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. You might remember me from other Scarefests, such as this last year, the year before that, several different years actually. I've been in Scarefest for a while. Wes Forsyth was nice enough to ask me to do kind of a review segment for Scarefest Radio. This is where I'm going to take either new movies, maybe some old movies or lost treasures I think you should watch, review them, and tell you what they're going to be about. This is going to be a little different than an average review show, but I'm going to give you a little history, maybe about the director, maybe about certain actors, maybe about how the movie was made, maybe what was going on, maybe a little bit of the history of other things. I have no idea. But today, I've chosen It Chapter 2. Now, there's going to be some spoilers. It Chapter 2 has been out for a couple of weeks, so you should have already seen it. If you've not, then you're probably not a fan and not going to watch it anyway, or you're definitely going to catch it on the red box. To say that I'm a Stephen King fan, well, that's just not quite cutting it. This is my original version of It that someone bought me in 1990, which would make me 12 years old. When the miniseries came out, you can see Tim Curry here on the book. I was a huge fan of the miniseries. I watched it the night it came on. It's directed by Tommy Lee Wallace. Tommy Lee Wallace is a Kentuckian, like some of us. He was friends with John Carpenter. He started working on Halloween and a few other movies. He directed Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, the one everyone hates that I actually really, really like. When I heard that they were going to make a new version, not a remake, because the first one was a miniseries that's on TV. I don't think it's very fair to call it a remake because it's based on a book. So it's not a remake of the miniseries. It's just another version or another, basically, version of the book. New movie. A guy named Cary Fukunaga. He directed the first season of True Detective, was writing the screenplay, was going to direct it. I was very excited. I loved the first season of True Detective. Then there was some problems, and he left the project, and he was replaced by a guy named Andy Muschietti. Well, I got excited about that, too, because if you don't know, Andy Muschietti directed a wonderful film called Mama that came out a few years ago. It's a horror kind of fantasy hybrid. Check it out if you haven't seen it. He's a talented man. Great. Get It Chapter 1. I go to the movies and I see it and I think, this is pretty damn good. And then I get excited because it's a huge hit. And It Chapter 2 is coming out. And I go and see it. And it sucks. What do you all think? Because I didn't like it. There's several problems. And I think one of the biggest problems is that it has an amazing cast. It has James McAvoy. It has Bill Hader. It has Jessica Chastain. These are award-winning actors. A couple of them have been nominated for Academy Awards. But they never quite gel. There's no chemistry between them. Not like there was with the kids. The other problem, I think, unfortunately, is this. The source material. It works fine as a novel. What do you always hear about books? It's a cliche, but you hear it all the time. Well, the movie was never as good as the book. For a lot of Stephen King books, that's correct. The reason being is because he's a fantastic author. But how do you describe deadlights in a book? Pennywise has deadlights. He's a being that has been from the cosmos and landed here, or was from the cosmos and landed here eons ago, basically where Derry is now, and he feeds on children. He loves the taste of scared children. It flavors the meat, he says. And his favorite shape is of the Pennywise the Dancing Clown. The miniseries made him into a spider at the end. People got pissed. But he is kind of a spider. But he is made up of these deadlights. Well, how do you explain that in the book? Well, fairly simple, and you build it with your imagination. How do you visually interpret that? There is a scene that they added the first in the movie I love that's out of the book. It's out of the first few pages where a man is murdered under a bridge after they've been attacked by another townsfolk. So, should you watch it? Well, if you're a Stephen King fan, you've probably already watched it. You're going to watch it. So yes, if you're a fan of the book, yes. If you like clowns, yeah, watch it. Is it a terrible movie? By no means. Is it as good as It Chapter 1? Not by a long shot. But every problem that the first miniseries had for the second night, It Chapter 2 has times 3. There is some great cameos in it. I enjoyed them, but it kind of takes you out of the movie too. There's a long extended cameo with Stephen King where Bill buys the bike. But it still takes you out of the movie. Check it out. You've probably already seen it, but it is very flawed. This has been Joe Lewis. Thank you so much.